Today, state attorneys argued that a Lexington women's clinic should be barred from performing abortions until they get a specific license.
The state releases its findings in the death of a teenager at a juvenile detention facility.
We're live in Des Moines, Iowa, where the Wildcats are getting ready for tomorrow's first round NCAA tournament game.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon. A judge heard arguments today in the lawsuit against a Lexington women's clinic.
Now, the state filed the suit against the EMW Women's Clinic on Burt Road earlier this month, saying it performed unlicensed abortions. And during a hearing, lawyers said the case shouldn't be in a courtroom at all. WKYT's Victor Puente has our top story at 5.
The attorney for EMW Women's Clinic has called this a manufactured lawsuit. Today, state attorneys said it's about ensuring women's safety. Today's hearing was in response to a lawsuit filed by Governor Matt Bevin's administration on March 3rd. That suit claims the facility exists only to perform abortions, so they need an abortion license from the state of Kentucky. Today, the owner of the clinic, Dr. Ernest Marshall, told the court they also perform other gynecological services, although they aren't that common. He said they didn't need a license because they're a private doctor's office that only does non-complicated procedures. Inspectors who went to the clinic testified and said the case started because of an anonymous complaint that the clinic was only performing abortions. Dr. Marshall said the clinic performed abortions up to 12 weeks into a pregnancy. After that, women would be referred to their Louisville facility. The clinic's attorney advised them to hold off on performing any abortions until the case is resolved. Judge Ernesto Scorsoni told both attorneys he wouldn't make that ruling today.
The proof in the case was woefully lacking. Dr. Marshall testified that he, in fact, retired as a practicing physician in a private practice in 2011, and that this facility only does abortions and abortion-related facilities.
If Judge Scorsoni denies the motion for a temporary injunction, then I think they're safe to see patients on Friday. If he sustains the Commonwealth's motion, then it's essentially shut down and we'll just deal with it at the permanent injunction state.
Scott White said the main reason he advised the clinic not to perform any more abortions until they get that ruling is because the penalty could be up to $10,000 for each one performed if that ruling goes against them. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
And the Bevin administration has also filed suit against Planned Parenthood in Louisville for performing what they call unlicensed abortions. The state attorney general in Kentucky launched an investigation today into radioactive waste dumped illegally in this state. State officials recently announced radioactive material from West Virginia was taken to the Blue Ridge landfill in Estill County. The landfill sits right across from the county's middle and high schools.
As a parent, I will make sure that we get to the bottom, that we get the truth, and we can come back to those parents and tell them not only how this happened, but that people are being held responsible and the steps that we want to take so that this never happens again.
The Attorney General's office is also investigating radioactive waste illegally dumped in Boyd and Greenup counties.
There's new information about the death of a teenager while in the custody of a juvenile detention center. She died in January, hours after being taken to the Lincoln Village Juvenile Detention Center in Hardin County. Today, the state released her cause of death. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has the findings in a story that's new at 5.
Justice Secretary John Tilley led the news conference here at the State Forensic Lab, giving updates into the investigation of the death of a 16-year-old at a detention center, ultimately saying that numerous tests reveal she died from natural causes.
It appears that this teenage girl died in her sleep from an inherited rhythm disturbance of her heart.
Doctors then explaining genetic testing revealing Janiah McMillan had a rare condition known as inherited long QT syndrome, something doctors say is hard to say definitively if any type of stress could have triggered.
Can occur spontaneously at any time. Many of the cases of sudden death due to or associated with long QT syndrome actually may simply happen with rest or with sleep.
Along with those medical findings, officials also discussing the death investigation by Kentucky State Police.
No foul play has occurred in this situation.
Secretary Tilley personally delivering these findings to the family just hours before the news conference.
It was a good meeting. It was a productive meeting. It wasn't an angry meeting. I have
the utmost sympathy.
Meanwhile, Tilley says while they were not factors in the death, their internal investigation did find what he calls very troubling employee misconduct at Lincoln Village, including several missed required bed checks during McMillan's stay.
This tragedy signaled that despite years of progress, we still have work to do when it comes to the system of justice for our children.
Sergeant Michael Webb says the Kentucky State Police investigation is in what they call their final stages. Secretary Tilley asks that once that is complete, all 60 hours worth of unedited video be given to the teen's family. In Frankfort, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Since McMillan's death, the Justice Commissioner was relieved of his duties and one employee was fired. 2 more are on investigative leave while 3 others face suspensions. Lexington police are investigating the city's 4th shooting in 3 days. Police found the latest victim on Ohio Street just after 1 this afternoon. He was taken to the hospital with a wound to his leg. Police say there is no indication any of this week's shootings are related. We have really enjoyed a taste of spring these last few days, but winter is trying to make a slow return.
Now, what is with that? WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is here to explain it all with an early check of the forecast. Chris?
Yeah, guys, that is basically March weather in Kentucky. We've been awfully spoiled over the past few weeks. This is one of the warmer March patterns you're ever going to find around here, especially during the first few weeks of the month of March. Now we're going to try to balance out the force a little bit this coming weekend with a taste of wintertime. Right now it's absolutely beautiful. Again, blue skies, green grass as we roll our way into St. Patrick's Day. Temperature right now 66 degrees. Humidity, though, it's bone dry out there. And with winds that are gusting greater than 30 miles an hour, watch out and respect all local burning bans, restrictions, and laws. They're in effect for a reason out there. Mid-60s across most of central Kentucky, still 70 or better. Southeastern Kentucky, we are doing something right here. Although everybody getting in on still temperatures well above normal. Defender Radar Network, nothing up close and personal. Notice a little batch of some clouds. St. Louis down to Paducah, a shower or 2 in between. 1 or 2 of those may try to creep in here late in the day tomorrow. Between now and then, though, it's another good looking evening. 60 by 7 o'clock, low 50s by 11 with gusty winds that will continue. Here's what I'm tracking as we look ahead. Cooler air filters in over the next few days. Then we get to the weekend and all of a sudden, old man winter at least tries to show up. We'll track the potential, guys, for a few flakes and some big temperature swings in that 7-day forecast in less than 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Well, the Wildcats just a day away from beginning their march to national title number 9.
The team will take the practice floor in Des Moines, Iowa in about an hour to get ready. WKYT's Rob Bromley is live outside Wells Fargo Arena with a preview of the Cats' first-round matchup with Stony Brook. Hi, Rob.
Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Sam. It's been a great day here in Des Moines, and the fans here in this city are really buzzing about having the NCAA tournament in their town for the first time. And as you said, the Wildcats open practice about an hour away. They will be on the podium and in the locker room talking at around 5:30. We'll have some of that for you. And, you know, going into the tournament, you would just have to say that the Cats have the best backcourt in college basketball. I don't really think there's too much question about that. You have Tyler Ulis, you have Jamal Murray, you have Isaiah Briscoe. Guard play always critical when it comes to the postseason.
We could make a really good run with this team. I mean, we've got the best backcourt in the nation. You know, it's very hard to guard Jamal. And you can't. It's hard to do stuff with Tyler. You know, Isaiah. You know, it's just a very good backcourt. And I mean, I'd like to compare it to like with the UConn team. Their backcourt, I feel like they led them to the championship, and I feel like this team could kind of do the same thing with that. We could just ride them along, and it'll be interesting.
There's Derek Willis, and it will be interesting. And here's Lee K. Howard with me. Most of the Kentucky fans, or a lot of them, certainly are going to come in tomorrow. But sure. Lee K., some are here already.
Some of them are here already. They practiced today, the open practices, and we see blue walking around all over Des Moines, and the Wildcat fans plan to spend the entire week in Iowa this week, but as we found out earlier today, not everyone even had to travel here to see their favorite team. Maury and Virginia Bryant are Kentucky natives who moved to the Hawkeye State 30 years ago, but they've never stopped bleeding blue.
Well, if you live in Des Moines, you really have to like the Big 12 or the Big 10. It's in Missouri Valley, of course, is here with Drake, but we're not bashful about letting people know we're big Kentucky fans, and we've got the flag flying in the front yard and the whole bit. So, and thank goodness for TV, so we can watch the Cats.
And that's the Bryants there. They're having a great time because this time, for the first time this year and the first time in quite a few years, they don't have to watch their television to see their Wildcats. They're so used to watching the Wildcats on TV. Now they get to see them up close and personal this week.
Fun to be here. You know, you've got the Kansas Jayhawks here, the overall #1 seed in the tournament. They're here. They play Austin Peay. Indiana is here. A lot of interest in the Hoosiers. Maybe we'll have a matchup with them come Saturday. But first, it's Stony Brook tomorrow night. We'll have it right here at 9:40 tomorrow. All the action. But for now, that's it from Des Moines. Sam, Jennifer, back to you.
Rob, good to see you have not had to whip out the winter coat just yet. That's coming probably at some point.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. You're right about that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
The president announces his nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll look at the battle brewing with the Senate.
The answer to fighting Zika might be in your kitchen. We'll explain that in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
It's about as good as it gets weather-wise across the Bluegrass State for the month of March. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been living a charmed life. Yes, we've had a little rain every now and again, but that's good. It's greening up the grass out there. Throw in the mild temperatures, all of a sudden it's spring, right? Now check back with me this weekend. Let's jump in to show you what's going on now. It's the good stuff that's still out there. Look at those Kentucky weather cams. Boy, we've got you covered if you're in eastern Kentucky, central Kentucky, west central parts of the state. Nothing going on but mild temperatures, gusty winds, and a blue sky. Thermometers now, compared to the same point yesterday, are a lot colder. But keep in mind, yesterday we were 75 to 80. So colder just means it's a little cooler than yesterday. We're still above normal by a long shot and still into the 70s. Southeastern Kentucky, most areas low and mid 60s across the rest of the region. Defender radar network calm, quiet, should stay that way over the next 24 hours. That planner for the day tomorrow back into the low 60s. We'll drop it into the upper 40s tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow will be cooler than today. but still above normal. Normal high right now, 55 to 60 into much of the area. This weekend promises some changes. Let's walk you into those changes. Got a brand new hour-by-hour forecast just in. 11 this evening, a lot of low 50s. Tomorrow morning, still into the 40s. Winds gusting up will help keep those temperatures from dropping tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, I think most areas, again, hit the low 60s, partly sunny skies. Here comes a weak front into town tomorrow night and Friday morning. So you notice we are a little chillier, upper 30s and low 40s to begin the day on Friday. Friday afternoon, it's another very windy day. Thermometers mainly stay in the 50s. Now let's go. Do we have to go into Saturday? Look at this. Saturday morning, low pressure developing to our south, pulling in colder air, upper 30s, low 40s. You've got green, you've got some pink, you've got a little white. You know what that means? That's some rain. That's a mix of some rain and snow and some out-and-out snowflakes that would then continue through your Saturday afternoon. All in response to this area of low pressure that is going to work its way across the deep south. It'll turn the corner up the eastern seaboard, may bring a winter storm to the east coast. Now, if that could come a little farther to the west, you'd be in business for maybe a little more than some rain and some snow mix. But as of now, let's kind of keep it in check and go with a little rain and or some light snow. We get it in and out of here fairly quickly this weekend, and it is a yo-yo pattern over the next couple of weeks that can produce some big-time storm system, guys, and a lot of big ups and a lot of big downs. Those downs, Sunday, Monday, 20s. The ups, Wednesday, 75.
I prefer to look at the ups.
Ups are always better, huh?
Yes.
Especially when you're looking at literally from the bottom.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Getting an overall look at Lexington traffic flow this afternoon. It's slower than we would expect it to be. There's a crash that just happened inbound Nicholasville at Cooper, by the way. That's why we're seeing red inbound there. Sweet 16 traffic downtown, getting a flyby look at what's happening around Rough right now. Things are manageable on South Broadway. Also on the north side, we cleared up the problem we had at North Broadway and 3rd Street, as you can see. As far as drive times go, Nicholasville Road, outbound toward Jessamine County, dealing with about a 15-minute ride. Paris is 24, Winchester 25, and to Richmond about 25 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
The city of Lexington breaking ground on a new fire station. We'll show you where it's going to be located.
And vandals strike a southern Kentucky cemetery, damaging dozens of headstones. We're tracking the investigation on WKYT News at 5:30.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Today, President Obama introducing his pick to fill the vacancy on the U.S. Supreme Court.
The announcement sets off an epic battle with Senate Republicans who vow they will not act until the next president is sworn in. Craig Boswell is at the White House with the latest.
President Obama introduced an emotional Merrick Garland as his choice to replace the late Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court.
For me, there could be no higher public service than serving the United States Supreme Court.
Garland is chief judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C., and is regarded as a moderate. The 63-year-old was born in Chicago and graduated from Harvard Law School. President Obama described him as one of America's sharpest legal minds, with a spirit of decency, integrity, and even-handedness.
These qualities and his long commitment to public service have earned him the respect and admiration of leaders from both sides of the aisle.
That bipartisan support will be key if the nomination moves forward in the Senate. Republicans say while it is the president's constitutional right to nominate, it is also the Senate's right to withhold consent. President Obama says he's reached out to every member of the Senate judiciary to discuss the nomination. But for now, the GOP leadership is digging in, saying the appointment should wait until after a new president takes office.
The next justice could well change the ideological makeup and the balance of the Supreme Court for a generation to come and fundamentally reshape America.
Garland makes his first visit to Capitol Hill on Thursday to meet with members of Congress. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's office told CBS News the senator called Judge Garland today to wish him well and to explain the Senate will not be acting on his nomination. It's looking more likely the 2016 presidential race will come down to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Trump now has more than half the delegates needed for the Republican nomination. He picked up wins in North Carolina, Illinois, and Florida yesterday. Governor John Kasich took his home state of Ohio, but trails Senator Ted Cruz in the delegate count. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton is nearly two-thirds of the way to the nomination.
Lexington city leaders breaking ground on a new fire station this afternoon. It will be located on Eastland Drive behind the Eastland Shopping Center. It will replace Fire Station 2 at New Circle and Meadow Lane. The interim fire chief says the current station is overcrowded and not far from the other station.
That's our job, is to serve the public, and we want to do that the best way possible. And so, you know, getting to where we close gaps of coverage kind of helps everybody out.
The new fire station in Lexington will take about a year and a half to build. There's a new push to widen a busy Lexington road that's become more and more crowded. We'll show you the challenges the project faces on WKYT News at 5:30.
What frequent smartphone use might tell you about your mental health and how items in your kitchen could help stop the spread of the Zika virus. Those stories next in Better Living.
Have something that needs investigating? Email us or call the WKYT Investigates tip line.
This time of year, everyone in the Lexington area is excited because they know it's time for the Burke Furniture March Markdown Madness Sale. Slam dunk huge savings up to 60% off in every department.
A beautiful home begins at Burke's.
Looking for the best boat your money can buy? Check out Tracker, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Tahoe boats. Backed by the best factory warranties in the business. And Tracker is holding the line on pricing. Most 2016 boats are at or below last year's prices. Like the 2016 Tracker Pro Team 190 TX for $1,100 below the 2014 price. 2016 boats at 2015 prices. At the Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boating Center in Corbin.
We're walking the streets delivering a simple message. Where there's smoke, there could be fire.
This is the start of a 5-year program with our partner, Kentucky Power, to install smoke detectors in local neighborhoods.
The smoke alarms are free. The only thing we ask is they let us show them how to use them.
Doesn't matter how cold it is outside, how early they got up that morning, or how far they've walked, they know that they've possibly saved a life.
We may be a power company, but the true power in our communities comes from our people.
Come into Steak 'n Shake for hand-dipped milkshakes. Better yet, come into Steak 'n Shake for hand-dipped milkshakes at half price during Half Price Happier Hour. Weekdays, now 2 to 5 at Steak 'n Shake. The $4 menu at Steak 'n Shake, featuring handcrafted steak burgers, all beef footlongs, and fresh guacamole made from scratch. The $4 menu, where all meals are under $4 at Steak and Shake.
The AOP has had its eye on her for quite some time. We were just waiting for the right moment to move in. The vibe was anything but playful. Go. Okay. We knew we had to move in fast, but there was a crowd, so we had to play it cool. This is where the years of training paid off. We got the scratch-off ticket to her in the nick of time.
We're agents to play, man.
People think this job is all fun and games, but we take our fun seriously. That's what being an agent of play is all about.
Thank you.
Just doing our job.
Put a little play in your day with scratch-offs from the Kentucky Lottery. Fueling imagination, funding education.
The joys of pizza delivery. Always waiting and waiting. And you never really know where your pizza's been when you order delivery. So why wait an hour or more when fresh pizzeria-style pizzas, whole or by the slice, are yours in just minutes at Speedway? A rich, buttery crust, real mozzarella cheese, and fresh pepperoni, all ready for you at Speedway. Why wait for delivery when Speedway's got fresh hot pizza in just minutes?
We're on your way, the convenience stores of Speedway.
Now buy one slice of pizza at Speedway and get your second slice free.
This time of year, everyone in the Lexington area is excited because they know it's time for the Burke Furniture March Markdown Madness Sale. Slam dunk huge savings up to 60% off in every department.
A beautiful home begins at Burke's.
It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Reaching for your smartphone frequently might be a sign of anxiety or depression. Researchers found the problem in people who use the devices to avoid dealing with unpleasant experiences or feelings, rather than those using it just to pass the time. Study authors say relying on cell phones to relieve anxiety might keep someone from developing more effective coping skills. Researchers have found something in your kitchen to fight the spread of the Zika virus. Omar Villafranca shows us the recipe that's been found to destroy the mosquitoes responsible for the outbreak.
Scientists at the University of New Mexico Health Sciences Center say this could be key to stopping mosquitoes from spreading the Zika virus.
Swirl it around a couple times.
The main ingredient is oil from lemongrass leaves. Scientists mix the lemongrass oil with sugar, yeast, and heat to create a microscopic donut irresistible to mosquito larvae. Dr. Scott Matthews says so far, the results in the lab are impressive.
They've eaten the particles, digested them, and have died as a result.
100% kill rate.
100% kill rate.
The oil shuts down the nervous, digestive, and respiratory systems, killing the hungry larvae in 3 to 5 days. Dr. Ravi Durvasula says the oil is safe for people and the environment, and less toxic than the pesticides being used to kill mosquitoes in countries like Brazil.
We're trying to package it so that we can get it to where we want it to go and not pollute the whole environment.
Lemongrass oil is cheap. A gallon of it costs less than $1. And it's so potent, 2 drops mixed with yeast is enough to kill thousands of mosquito larvae.
Dr. Durvasula's lab is working on a patent for the oil-filled donut.
In 6 to 12 months, with the right partner, we could have this out there for use.
They hope to test the donuts in mosquito breeding pools in South America later this year. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The Zika virus has been linked to a serious birth defect called microcephaly that leaves newborns with abnormally small heads and neurological issues. Now, here's what's coming up on WKYT News at 5:30.